Written by David Bowie, Motta Hoople. BP is still with us. Peter Quinn. Peter, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joe. How are you?
Especially poignant for you because of your front man of the David Bowie tribute band Rebel Rebel.
That's correct.
Tell us, so were you working at the weekend?
We were. We put together a festival, Dublin Bowie Festival, we called it, and it ran for 2 nights on Saturday and Sunday. And Jerry Leonard was our ghost of honour, spooky ghost, who's David Bowie's guitarist and musical director. Came over from New York to work over the weekend with us. And the weekend was a huge success. And it ended on a high. Sorry, okay. Go ahead.
No, I presume the timing, I'll let you go. I'll let you continue, but I presume the timing of the festival was to do with his birthday.
That's right. We've been doing it for a few years now.
Okay, good. So there was a great buzz.
Incredible. Sold out. Fantastic buzz. People really enjoying the music and celebrating the whole event, and the new album being released last Friday. And got home very late last night and woke up this morning to the news that Bowie had passed.
Out of the blue, the news.
Yeah. It was just disbelief. I can't, hasn't sunk in. I still can't believe that it's happened.
And do you perform as David Bowie?
I do.
Oh, you do? Okay. And how did you get into that?
For years and years, I was a singer-songwriter, and people, right from the earliest days of when I wrote my first songs and recorded my first demo tapes, people would say, that sounds really like David Bowie, you see. And it just went from there. So basically, when the recession kicked in, I was trying to think of any way to make alternative income, just in case my day job disappeared. The whole idea of doing a Bowie tribute came up. I would never have really done it otherwise, because I would never have become a tribute artist. I wanted to do my own material, and I was sort of pushed into a situation where I had to do it, and it just became quite a successful thing and a very enjoyable thing to do. And when you're up there,
are you in the gear?
Yeah, well, it depends. There's so many different eras.
Of course, how do you keep up with it?
Yeah, there's so many different costumes, and so you pick the most popular ones, and then sometimes you do shows where you do different outfits, and other shows just do one or whatever. It depends on the venue too. If you can, not everywhere you can plug in hair dryers or have a wardrobe.
And Peter, he was here, he performed here 18 times. As you know, he rehearsed here and recorded here as well. Did you ever meet him?
No, I didn't. Almost did a few times, because he was living in Dublin for a while, and in the 90s, and he was staying in the Conrad Hotel, and he used to be down at the Clarence a lot for lunches and stuff. I worked in Temple Bar, and I'd get a lot of people telling me, "Oh, Bowie was in for lunch in the Clarence today," or whatever. So I'd hear where he was all the time, or down at the factory rehearsal studio on Barrow Street, or stuff like that. So I heard he was around, and I remember seeing pictures of him. Just found one recently of him and his wife, Iman, walking up past the Halfpenny Bridge.
Yeah, and there's a lovely photograph of him.
Yeah.
And Wellington Quay as well, I saw there.
That's probably the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's in a series of pictures there, yeah.
And God, you're gonna. Well, I hate even going down this road, but you're gonna be in demand now.
Yeah, it seems to be. I got emails even at 9:30 this morning, and I just couldn't read them. It just felt a bit too weird.
And then you say as well in your text here, you knew a guy who delivered vegetables, I presume, to the Clarence. And one day...
That's right. No, I met him at a gig.
Okay.
A lot of people at the gigs would come up and tell me their Bowie stories.
Oh, great.
And this particular guy delivered veg to the Clarence, and he told me he was struggling one day with a I don't know, a tray of, or a basket of vegetables, bringing them in. And he was taking them out of the van or a box or whatever, and this guy in a tracksuit and a baseball cap came over with an English accent and said, "Oh, I'll give you a hand," and helped him bring them in. And he realised then when he got inside that it was David Bowie who'd been staying there, and he was just incredibly personable character. You know, he seemed to like to be on the same level as everybody else. Like every story I hear is he's always telling people, just, you know, don't treat me any different to anybody else, you know. So incredible.
BP, what do you think of tribute bands? I mean, there's a genuine.
I think, you know, if that's, you know, if that's your way of enjoying the person's music at this point in time, I think it's completely valid, actually. It's, you know, there's no disrespect. It's obviously not the real thing, but I'm sure it's done with love and care, and it's a way of hearing the music. I mean, the thing, you know, you were saying about the palpable sense of sadness and everything. Here we have a gentleman who has been the soundtrack for many, many years to many, many people's lives, you know. His music has punctuated them leaving school and falling in love and getting married and having children and so on and so forth. And I think one of the reasons that he is so important and has left such an emotional legacy is because he wrote songs about being an outsider, and thus he became an insider inside people's hearts and their spirit and soul, and that carries through life forever.
That's so true, yeah.
I'll go back to Christy Dignam in a sec. I just want to bring in Francie Conway. Francie, sorry for holding you there for so long. Francie, rock guitarist. You found a member of the rock school in Ballyfermot, isn't that right, Francie?
Yeah. Hi, Joe.
And again, connections with David Bowie.
Well, before, just hi to BP and Christy and Billy there as well. Yeah. I mean, the last time I met him was in the 90s, the early 90s, when he came to Ireland here. The band, I got a message from to know that they were coming in a day early before doing a gig, and would I take them out and stuff, and I ended up bringing them to O'Donoghue's to give them a little bit of Irish culture, and that was a bit of a good night out. But my connection really goes back to Mountain Studio in Montreux in Switzerland. And that's where David Bowie went to live for quite a while and to record. And he started working with one of my best friends, a guy called David Richards. And I was actually there at the time when Bowie came to Mountain Studio and invited David Richards to go out and have dinner with him. And David was telling me the day after they arrived into this amazing fancy restaurant in Montreux, and there was nobody there. Mr. Bowie had booked the entire restaurant out so the two of them could have a chat and without being interrupted. And that was the leading to the Iggy Pop album. And then, of course, with David Richards, David Bowie continued on recording himself there. And then, of course, the Queen connection, because David Richards and the Queen connection was very strong, coming from Mountain Studio as well.
And he liked to party, you say. And where was he? Well, he was on his way. He was on his way to playing the Point Depot in Dublin.
That's right, yeah. And they were playing in Birmingham or somewhere the night before, and the band, they were all having a pretty good time, and they decided to travel with the road crew, and they actually came over on the boat. They didn't wait until the flight the day after. And they came over on the boat that night, and they booked into the Conrad, and I got a call to know would I take them out and bring them somewhere nice for the evening, you know.
So they like partying. But how do you classify today, Francie, in terms of?
Today is one of the darkest days I've experienced for an awful long time. I'm just getting flooded with memories, and you know, I mean, I suppose I got from knowing. I mean, you go down to Montreux and you go into my office, one of my local pubs there, and you know, you're hearing about the person. I mean, there's a lot of people there are going to be very affected today because they would have got to know him as the guy, as a really, really nice man that was around the place, a really good player, really nice guy to be in company fortunate to be, in Montreux at all that period when all that was going on, and it was a very, very special time. And the funny thing about it, Joe, is that I was doing a recording session there only 2010, and we wanted to put some electric guitar on, and I was in Mountain Studio, and Jewel, the tape op, said, maybe, use this guitar here, and he said, it's David's. And I said to him, that's cool, but I said, I didn't realize that David Richards, was into guitars. And he said, no, it's David Bowie's guitar. He leaves it here, so when he's over, he's got something to play on. So I had the honor of actually playing his guitar 5 years ago in Mountain Studio, and we used it in the introduction on a track called Peace, Love and Rock and Roll. And I'm so, I'm just flooded with memories today, Joe, flooded with memories.
Okay. Thanks indeed, Francie. That's Francie Conway, musician, guitarist and indeed teacher. Thanks, Francie. Back after this. 51551 1850 715 815.